Hey everyone, welcome to Humpday Happy Hour hosted by Dentists in the Know. This is the webcast where dentistry meets real talk, real news, and just the right amount of sarcasm, and also just the right amount of wine. Tonight I'm doing a little bit of doing something I never usually do, little Chardonnay. And I'm giving into the Chardonnay thing only because it happens to be Davis wines, which I'm a big fan of. Anyway, I want to welcome y'all to Humpday Happy Hour. I'm kind of excited about tonight's show because we have a very, very special guest. But anyway, we are the people that are pulling back the curtain on the industry. We're talking to the experts, the educators, the innovators. We're talking to everyday clinicians who are out there doing the work. There's no fluff, there's no filter, and there's definitely no sales pitches disguised as education. If it's happening in dentistry, from clinical insights to regulatory curveballs, or maybe it's the latest scandal at the ADA, we're probably already talking about it. And yes, we are bringing the goods. Doesn't matter if you're a seasoned doctor or anyone in the dental industry for that matter. Perhaps you're a curious consumer, or maybe you're just here for the banter. We welcome you all to the show because around here, we're not just in the loop, we are in the know. Again, everyone, I'm Dr. Jeff Horowitz. I am accompanied by two of my best friends in the world who I get to drink wine or our beverage of choice with each and every Wednesday night while we bring you what's going on in dentistry. This is Dr. Chad Duplantis and Dr. Jennifer Bell. They all right, but they are my buddies, and they are great clinicians and great providers. So happy to be here with them. Again, we have a great show tonight. I am very humbled to have my son, Luke Horowitz, who is a digital designer in the Buffalo area. And we're going to be talking about confessions. He and I have had a lot of conversation, especially since he started doing a lot of my design work. We've had a lot of conversation of, what some of the frustrations are from the lab side and from the dental side likewise. So I think this will be a really good insight and be very helpful to a lot of our dentist friends who are out there as far as how we communicate digitally with our counterparts at the laboratory. So I'm very excited. And guys, how are you?
I'm well.
Wow. JD. Could you elaborate on that, please? We still have 57 and a half minutes to go.
JB, how are you?
Feel free to.
I'm good. I'm okay. I got it, Ben, and I'm live. So
you remember that time you did that thing where you made a joke, and that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Hey.
No, not the worst week so far. Although I will say it does seem like we might be dealing with, I definitely have had to have a lot of encouraging conversations this week.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I would agree with that.
Had a moment like that last week as well.
Yeah. I'm going to blame it in the South because we haven't had any rain in forever. I just think the rain now is just throwing people into discombobulation. Like they're just.
So you've not had like the little, I had to ask Jenny if it was the full moon because Monday and Tuesday in particular were a little bit of.
Right.
A little bit of kookiness.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing bad, just all around kooky.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah.
So, Hey, Luke.
We are just full of it tonight.
Well, Chad had a story he wanted to share, so I'm just waiting for it.
I am going to share a story, but okay. Luke is here. I just sent him a new link. Okay, so there was something with the link that he had. It must have been. Okay, so anyhow.
Oh, wait. Sorry. Bye, Luke. You got to go.
Hello.
We'll get you back.
Technical difficulties. All right. So y'all ready to get real?
Yeah. That's what this is.
All right. So I'm gonna come clean. I'm gonna share a story, and I debated on I debated on whether or not I should share this story, but I think it's relevant and it's funny, and I'm just going to go ahead and expose myself entirely. All right. So there's
Please don't
a
expose
couple of
yourself
things
on
in
a
life
live broadcast.
that I can't stand doing. Okay. The first is going to the doctor. I do not like going to the doctor. All right. Let's just go ahead and get that clear. The second thing is I don't like dealing with my financial advisor. I'm just going to go ahead and be clean. I don't. So
Okay.
it's not that I dislike him. It's just those are uncomfortable conversations, right? So a couple of months ago, I noticed this spot, and I showed my wife, and she's like, "Yeah, you should go get that checked out." So of course I told her, I said, "Well, I don't have a dermatologist, so make an appointment at the dermatologist with me, right?" So she makes an appointment at her dermatologist, which is like this freaking bougie clinic by us,
I don't know if it's cancer, but do you want more Botox?
Yeah.
This is all I have to offer.
Well, we've got some filler for it.
The appointment's last Friday at 11:15, and I show up, and I'm just going to go ahead and air it all out. The spot's on my ass, okay? So anyways, I show up.
Do you want to show it to everybody or no?
No,
Okay.
no, I don't.
Okay.
It gets better though. So anyways, dermatologist is a female, and so her PA is going to be seeing me, and I don't know if it's a female or a male. Oh yeah, it's like a 25-year-old woman that comes in.
Maybe hot, maybe not.
Yeah, she's like, "Oh, hey, I hear you got a spot." Yeah, I got a spot. Where is it? Well, it's on my rear end. Okay. So they didn't make me put on a robe and drop trow and everything. So I drop my shorts and I pull my underwear up like a G-string, and I'm like, "It's right here." She's like, "Oh, okay, yeah." She's like, "It's got irregular borders. We should go ahead and take care of that." And I'm like, "Yeah, well, what are we going to do?" And she tells me, and I'm like, "All right." She's like, "You don't have to do it today." I was like, "No, I'm here. Let's go ahead and do it." I go, "Do I have any restrictions?" And she says, "Like what?" And I was like, "Can I go play golf?" She's like, "When are you playing?" And I'm like, "Maybe at like 1:15. She's like, "Yeah, you'll be fine." I'm like, "Okay, great. Then let's do it." She's like, "You just can't swim for a week." I'm like, "All right, great." So she's like, "Lay flat on the table."
Will you be able to play guitar though?
Yeah, she says.
Yeah.
She says, "Lay flat on the table. I'm going to go ahead and numb you, and we'll get this done." So they lay me flat on the table. She's like, "I'll be right back." She opens the door. My ass is in the air. The door's wide open. We probably have friends walking in and out of this clinic, getting Botox fillers, whatever the hell people do there. And my ass is in the air at the clinic. So pull my shorts down, go shut the door. All right, lay back down, assume the position. And then all of a sudden, this other person comes in and says, "I'm going to go ahead and numb you now." And I'm face down, right? I'm like, who the hell is this?
What is this, a spectator sport?
How many people walked by the room and said, "Oh, hey, Chad"?
Yeah, I go, "Who are you?" She's like, "Oh, I'm the medical assistant. I'm going to go ahead and anesthetize the area." So we start talking about lidocaine and everything, and she's like, "Yeah, we use the same exact thing that you use in the dental office." "Cool, man. Go ahead and numb me up." I was like, "You know where it's at?" And she's like, "Yeah, she marked it." I'm like, "All right, cool." So she numbs me up. A few minutes later, they open the door. "Hey, Marge, going back and forth. Doors open. My ass is still in the air. Now I'm numb. At this point, I'm like, you know what? Who cares? They can see my face. They can just see my ass. Let's go for it, right?
Yeah.
So they shut the door. Doctor walks back in. "Sorry, had to step away for a little bit. We're going to go ahead and take this off." Boom. 5 seconds. We're done. "I'm going to put a Band-Aid on it. We'll call you next week if it's something, but don't worry about it." "You want to see a picture of it?" "Yeah, I want to see a picture of it." Shows me her little iPad picture of everything. I'm like, okay, doesn't look like what I thought it looked like. But then again, who can see their ass, right? So fast forward. I come home. I'm going to play golf. I got on gray shorts. And I told Ellen, I was like, "Hey, she put a Band-Aid on it. I don't know what the hell she did, but I'm afraid I'm going to bleed through." I was like, will you check the Band-Aid and make sure there's no blood coming through or whatever?" So she's like, "Yeah, sure." So I drop my shorts and I pull my underwear down, and she goes, "There's no Band-Aid." And I go, "What are you talking about? There's no Band-Aid." And she goes, "And the spot's still there." And I'm like,
"Shut up."
I go, "You
They did the wrong spot.
Yeah. She goes, "Move your hand." And I move my hand. She goes, "Oh my God. They took a spot off the wrong spot." She goes, "Didn't you tell him?" I go, "Ellen, it's on my ass. I can't see it. I can't see it, So I'm like, you know these people, you call them. She's like, I'm not calling them. I'm like, no, you got to call them because I'm not calling over there and telling them that they removed the wrong spot. She's like, I'm not calling them. No, you call them. It's your ass. So anyways, I call over there. I get
literally his ass.
Yeah, I get the lady on the phone. I'm like, yeah, excuse me. You know, my name's Chad Duplantis. I was just there. Da, 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 da. She's like, oh, yeah. How are you? I'm like, and she's like, are you having a problem? Yeah, well, not really. But, you know, you all removed the wrong spot. Oh, are you sure? Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, how do you know? Well, because my wife looked at it and it's not the spot that I went in there for. Oh, well, if it's not the spot that you came in here for, they definitely saw it, but thought you shouldn't do something about it, I guess. And I'm like, right. And she goes, didn't you think to tell them that it wasn't the right spot? I go, can you see your ass? She goes, well, fair point. She goes, but didn't they show you a picture afterwards? And I said, yes, ma'am, they did. I go, have you ever been on an airplane?
The geography of your ass.
Over the ocean and you look down on the ocean and it's just all blue? Yeah. And she's like, yeah. And I go, and then all of a sudden you see this little dot and you're like, oh, I wonder if that's where we're going. No, you don't really know because it all looks the same. I go, the picture, it was a picture of my rear end. I don't really want to look at a picture of my rear end. And all I could see was white.
You've never studied the geography there?
Apparently the spot that she moved. So, moral of the story, I got to go back on Friday.
And get your butt done again? Yeah.
Now, let me ask this. Let's think about this for a second, because this is where it all relates, because that story, I honestly think it's funny. But would our patients think it's funny if we took out the wrong tooth?
Heck no. I mean, I was just thinking doing a filling on the wrong tooth, but taking out the wrong tooth would be the worst, like the worst.
But, you know, it's amazing that someone at the front office was
so cool about it.
Arguing with you over this, because if someone made a call like that to my office, I'm sure they'd be like, we better bring this person in to see what's going on. Like, I can't imagine the front office just arguing with them saying, well, didn't you show them?
I just want to reiterate, you'll note I didn't say any names. I think the world of this clinic. I really do. This is a young assistant. I know that it wasn't intentional. Honestly, it's more comical than anything else. I mean, if she removed something that needed to be removed, by all means, go for it. You know, I don't know if I had my britches pulled up tall enough. I don't know. You know, I mean, who knows what she was looking at, and who knows what the hell I was pointing at. I mean, it was very humiliating for me, the patient. It's not like I could say it's this one right here that's hurting me. Oh, this one? No, this one back here, you know? It's like, it's on my ass, lady. I don't know. I don't have a direct visual. I can't even tell who's working on it. Just tell me when it's done, you know?
I don't think it's disparaging of the office, but I do think it brings up a really valid point. How much our front desk is speaking on our behalf when we don't know it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I'm sure if you talk to the doctor or even the medical assistant or whatever, they would be very concerned that you felt like the wrong spot had been removed. But
my staff would have been mortified.
Oh yeah. I mean, my text chain would have been blowing up going, doctor, we have somebody on the phone who's concerned you did something wrong. Like,
get him in.
Now here's another point that I want to bring up. Okay. Something like this happens in your office. Are you charging the patient the exam fee to bring them back?
No.
Oh no, that's a different story. Yeah.
So that will be the story for next week, because I have no idea.
Medical does operate in a very different sphere though, but I'm very interested to know.
I will be.
I wouldn't charge you.
I'm interested to know too. I have not asked anything. I did confirm my appointment that my ass will be there on Friday, but
and you attached to it. How did you find the spot in the first place?
Ellen found it.
No, she didn't. It was I was as I was showering one time. I was like, "What the frick is this?" You know. So yeah.
Do you have a mirror?
Oh, while you were lathering up.
Let's not go.
I feel like this is actually a more important part of the story.
Yeah, let's just say that there was.
All right, let's let JB do some news, and
I hate to leave this. I really
know,
do.
And then we'll get Luke
Was it
on.
worth the time?
Yeah, it was worth the time. It was good.
All right.
Also,
was-
are you going to get charged the biopsy? I think there's 2 codes here I'm
Yeah.
going to be watching for.
There are 2 codes, and I was very interesting. It was very interesting how they feed that out as well, because this is not an in-network provider. But I didn't understand a damn thing that she said to me, except for when she said the total, because she looked at some sheet, she slid over with a ruler. She's like, okay, we're going to charge this. Looked at another sheet, slid over with the ruler. Okay, we're going to charge this. You owe $296. Here's my card. Get me the hell out of here. Everybody in here seeing my ass. I'm done.
Yeah.
So,
Gosh, I feel like part 2 may be better than part 1.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Could be.
we'll wait and see. Yeah.
All right, do some news for us,
You want
JB.
some news?
Yep.
Woo, coming off of that story is a little bit tough because that was a lot of fun. And the news is often, well, what it is, the news. So maybe let's start with, I got to spice it up because I do have a heavy one in here, which probably most of you are familiar with. So let's kind of bounce it up a little bit. First off, I've been picking a lot on Delta, and I am so sorry. Aetna, you're coming in. You want to be a part of the story. You want to be a part of the party, and I don't want to leave you out. Now Aetna is jumping in and saying they're no longer going to be sending paper checks to their out-of-network dentists. So that probably isn't quite as bad as what Delta did by saying even their in-network doctors are not going to pay them by paper check anymore. They're going to charge them, or they'll pay them by paper check, but they're going to charge them a fee to do so. Aetna is only going to penalize those who are out of network and saying we're not going to be issuing you paper checks anymore. I assume that means they're still going to be doing EFT to out of network, but I should never assume when it comes to insurance companies. But I think there seems to be a lot of kerfuffle going on in the insurance space right now and kind of trying to find little margins where they can. So it would be interesting to watch the next couple of months as numbers start winding down for Q3 to see any other last minute changes that we have coming forward. But I didn't want to leave Aetna out. You know, we've been talking a lot about Delta. Feel bad about that, I guess. All right. It's been a busy year, 2026. States have been incredibly active on insurance reform legislation. And in fact, more than 100 dental insurance bills have been introduced in over 37 states. So far, 14 have been enacted with 21 total new laws. I think that shows a ton of activity on the state level trying to control what's happening with insurance companies. Now, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but most of these reforms only really impact state level insurance plans. So self-funded and federal plans always seem to get by without being impacted. So I'm still a fan of really looking at federal insurance reform laws because that is really the only thing that's going to make it very easy on a state level to know which one of these laws you can enact and at what time you can enact them. Right now, we're still operating in this very weird space where some insurance companies we can enact the laws and in others we can't. But it does show that it's been a very active, busy year. Dental loss ratio, virtual credit card payments, network leasing, assignment of benefit, retroactive claim denials, and downcoding have all been subject matters for all of these different laws. And in fact, to be specific, Colorado just passed a new law for dental network leasing. And I kind of like the language here. And I thought it was worth bringing up. It will take effect on August 12th. So we got just a few weeks, but definitely a big lobbying effort on behalf of the state of Colorado and the ADA participating in that activity. Let me just read you a little snippet of what the law will address. It requires insurers to obtain dentist affirmative consent before leasing their services to third parties, while allowing dentists to also withdraw that consent. In addition, carriers must provide regular updates on lease networks and the third parties accessing them. And third-party payers must adhere to the same contractual terms as the original carrier. A lot of good language here, basically saying, if I sign a contract with you, that is just a contract with you. You are not then allowed to sell me to other parties. And now patients are coming into your office saying, well, they told me that you were in network with this particular company, even though you didn't actually sign a contract. And most importantly in this law, they will be obligated to continue to notify the contracted dentist to make sure that they want to participate in the next leasing assignment or whatever. They can't just do it and then not communicate further, and then the doctor doesn't know what's happening. And if they withdraw, they are legally allowed to do so. So I'm really proud to see what Colorado's doing. I think this is just one other bill that's been put out there. Again, 37 different states, 100 different dental laws over the course of 2026, trying to get this stuff under control. Workforce issues, payment, insurance, you name it, they've been dealing with it. The third story of the week was actually a pretty sad story. And I don't bring it up because I want to delight in the demise of this doctor. In fact, as I read the story of the young 4-year-old who passed away in Texas under sedation, and the doctor who was administering the sedation and performing the procedure at that time, I feel bad for everybody. I feel bad for the family that lost a precious baby. I feel bad for a woman whose career probably is over, or what she had built. And I don't know her story. I don't know the debt that she's carrying, or her dreams, or what she represents from her family, and sort of the struggles. But if I put myself in that old situation and something adverse happens, that everything you've been working for your whole life changes in an instant, and it could be in your profession, it could be in your personal life, whatever, you can't help but feel empathy for somebody like that, to want everybody to have been okay, for that 4-year-old to have gone back to school, and for that doctor to be able to continue to perform dentistry in her community safely. So for that, it's just a friendly reminder that we can't really take what we do for granted, and that even with our best attempts of wanting to perform really good dentistry and take care of people in our community, things can change in an instant. And I'm not quick to judge our colleagues, because until you're in that situation and until you really understand what happened, it's very quick to pass judgment. But we'll allow the courts to sort those things out. In the meantime, our prayers go out to that family for a life that was lost way too young. And with that, that's the news.
So I got to tell you something. I was listening to your news, and first off, my thoughts and prayers do certainly go to the family that lost their loved one throughout this horrible tragedy. It hit very close to home because it was very close to where we practice. So that's first and foremost. And I'm with you. I do feel for the dentist too. We don't know what was happening that day, that time. We don't know anything about her training, and we can't criticize that. We can't be so quick to judge. Unfortunately, a lot of us are. And there's two sides to every story. So we just need to understand that too. Additionally, I wanted to say, while you were doing this, an email popped up and it cracked me up. It came from our health insurance provider, and it was Blue Cross Blue Shield, and it said it was their notice of non-discrimination. Isn't charging people who are not providers, isn't that a form of discrimination? I mean, couldn't we figure out a way to make that discriminatory? I loved my team's response to this when they found out that Aetna was doing it. My insurance coordinator, she was just like, this is freaking ridiculous. She's like, you're given two choices. You're charged per week, or you get the credit card fees. What's the lesser of two evils? And it's amazing that they can get away with this. I think that there's going to be a lot more reform, and with the salaries of the CEOs, I'm sorry I said it, with the salaries of the CEOs and the higher ups in these companies, shame on you.
Yep.
Shame on you. And shame on you, not only to the provider, but to your insured.
Yep. I don't disagree. I've been, beating this drum for months now on some of these shady things that they're doing. And
Well, the nice thing is we have social media now to bring this all to a head. So hopefully,
Till I get a cease and desist.
yeah. Well, we'll all go at it behind you, but we've got a guest that we need to bring on, guys.
Why don't you introduce him? Do you know him?
I've never met this guy.
I've heard of him.
Okay.
I've heard of him. So I'm not gonna lie. He was a little bit of a pain in the ass to raise. I'm not gonna lie about that. And I'm pretty sure he will admit the same. I mean, hell, it took a really strong OBGYN and a big ass pair of forceps to even come into the world. So we kind of knew he was going to be a little bit of a pain to start with. But what an incredible
come into the world.
Yeah, he's still in the black hole.
He's still in the black hole. Maybe we can get him to turn his camera on. Anyway, we're talking about my son, Luke Horowitz, who's a digital designer now up in the Buffalo area. And just a little bit about Luke, aside from being a little bit of a stubborn pain in the neck. He's a great kid, incredibly artistic. At 3 years old, he was drawing faces from the inside out. At 4 years old, he commanded an audience at the French Pavilion of Epcot, where they had the easel set out, and he painted an entire Winnie the Pooh scene from memory, and he had this whole crowd of people around him. And we knew he was destined to do something in art. And he continued throughout his high school career and doing caricature work. He got into other forms of art. He spent a little bit of time at Savannah College of Art and Design, had his work in some galleries in Charleston, but wasn't really sure where his career was going to take him. And I guess just listening to me, listening to us, and introducing him to some really cool. Oh, that's Dr. Anime, who is made, if you've ever bought a Shofu product, you have seen some of Luke's work. That is Dr. Anime, and Luke is responsible for those illustrations that you see there. We knew he was destined for something great in art, just had no idea it would end up this way. We made some introductions. He also loved computer graphics. And before you know it, he was mixing computer graphics and his art skills and his quest to learn more about everything that he does. And he's now one of the top digital designers at the lab that he is working at. And Luke, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
It's good to see you too. It's good to finally be on.
He's still a pain in the ass.
He's still a pain in the ass. You're silent.
Thank you for the introduction.
We don't hear you.
I'm sure Mom would appreciate the part about the forceps.
Is he on mute? How about our producer? I knew he never wanted to be a dentist, but I never knew he would be in dentistry like this, and it's been a lot of fun.
You've got a designer that's really, really new to the game, really fresh, really doesn't understand a lot about dentistry. In your case, you chose to work with him because of the relationship and you wanted to build him up. But I think that you have a lot of lessons that you could teach, because there are some people that are forced to work with certain designers because they don't have a history with a lab. They're new to the lab. How would you suggest to any dentist looking to get in with a lab that they start working with a new designer?
So, the thing is that we're a relationship based business, right? And we've talked about this a lot of times on the show, that everything we do in dentistry is really relationship based.
Yes.
And I think being able to have open communication with someone is probably the most important piece. Being able to say, you know what, I don't understand this concept. Can you explain, the lab technician to the dentist saying, I don't understand this concept. Can you explain this better to me? Or the dentist saying, I don't understand what it is you're wanting from me. and what you're trying to accomplish on your end. Let me understand that. It's being able to show those kind of vulnerabilities. And when you have somebody that you can have those kind of conversations with, everything gets better. Do we have sound from Luke?
We do.
Hello.
Oh,
There
he
he is.
speaks.
Oh my God, amazing. Sorry about that, guys.
We got him on. That's great. So Luke, I think, what Chad was asking is he was saying, you chose to begin working with someone who was pretty new. And what I will tell you is that how long have you been doing digital design now? Almost a year and a half?
About a year and a half, yeah.
Yeah, a year and a half. What I will tell you is that the level at which Luke speaks to me in dental terminology is beyond the conversation that I've ever been able to have with a lot of people, and which says a lot about him, because he will ask me if there's something he doesn't understand, and if not, he will go off and learn it. And immediately when he started down this path, I could see the excitement in him and wanting to learn the next piece. And so that became exciting for me, is like, if there's someone on the other end that's wanting to learn it that badly, I want to help that person learn it that badly. And I can tell you, when something doesn't go right, I think Luke feels worse about it than I do. And so again,
That's
Hello.
Luke, your screen is locked.
Do you realize you're sideways, Luke?
We're trying to get his video to
The
go
producer
long.
asked me to turn it sideways.
Yeah, I think it's.
What do you want me to do?
It didn't work though. Sorry. Luke.
Oh my goodness. I wouldn't expect anything else with Luke involved, but I do want everyone to know that finding, as Chad said, finding that person that you can communicate with, and share what it is you're after with, and being willing to accept criticism. I mean, I've had, when your son calls you up and says, "Dad, your scan is shit."
Yeah.
Like, okay, what am I going to say to that? I mean, the scan is shit if he's telling me the scan is shit.
Well, it's better me than the office, right?
What's that?
It's better me than the office of the lab, right?
Well, it's just, I think when you have that relationship with someone, you're like, okay, this is not about money. This is not about anything. It's just about, here's what's best.
It's
right?
about a result. Yeah.
It's about a result. That's it. So,
yeah.
Luke, why don't you talk for a minute, since we've been covering for you?
I've kind of been hell in color mode for a little while.
I want you to kind of talk about what your journey has been, because honestly, the dude is like, he's probably the second lead designer now where he is, because of what he's achieved in such a short time. So Luke, just talk a little bit about your journey and what you've learned, and the important piece of this too is, what are some of the things that we can do better from the dental side to make your job easier at the lab?
All right. So I guess I'll break that up a little bit. So I guess my journey, it all starts with crowns. That's the crown gulag is a real thing whenever you first get started, and there is, believe it or not, a ton to glean from that. I probably spent like 4 or 5 months doing nothing but single unit crowns, and when you're only fixing one tooth, there's only so much you can fix about the situation, right? The rest of the mouth, the situation is what it is. So, whether it's like some insane opposing that's crashing into it, or, there's just no restorative space whatsoever. You kind of learn what you can do, the quick fixes, what you can get away with. And, it's crazy how it ends up applying to every single thing you do. Oh, I just had a crazy moth fly in front of my face.
I saw it.
Yeah, that was from the devil. But yeah. The crowns actually taught me so much, and it's amazing though, the moment I moved on to full arch, how you realize how little some of these things actually matter.
It's not a bat, Luke. I don't.
I am afraid of it, nonetheless. What was I even saying?
You're when you moved to full arch.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, the people at my lab, I work at Evolve, and they have been so helpful in, just even when I'm not getting a direct lesson or direct sit down, like let's go through a certain workflow or something, just through osmosis, it's amazing how when you hear people on the phone with doctors all the time, or, you just see people taking meetings, how much you end up picking up. It's like dental is almost like learning another language. And it literally in some ways, there's so much dental vocab that I think my friends say it's like drinking through a water hose whenever you first come into it, because it really does sound like a different language. But I really owe a lot to my teammates who, the lab I work at, I'm very lucky that they kind of are able to uplift those around them and show them, different workflows, and kind of elevate us to work on more advanced cases. I think it speaks for itself that in 1 year, like I went from doing these crowns every day to like now I'm doing like all on X cases, like mono bendable on like the micro abutments and stuff. It's really a mixed bag these days, so you never know what you're gonna walk in and get hit with.
What have you found a passion within dentistry throughout your first year?
A passion is, so that's a toughie. I would say the thing that excites me most, which actually this kind of answers Dad's question too about what are some of your, I guess, grievances with communication with doctors and clinics. When we complete cases, a lot of the time we don't get to see the result. We don't get the post-op and get to see the person whose life we've actually changed. And that is by far the most fulfilling part. And you guys know, like, you guys have done it a million times, but like, as someone who, there are upsides to being in the lab, right? Like there's no blood and saliva on me, but, on the other side of things, a lot of the time I'll send my designs through and just never hear back besides thank you. And, I love to see the smile at the end of it.
So at your lab, what's the progression of the design? Doctor sends an impression in for a full arch case. What's the progression? What happens at the laboratory?
So a lot of the time I work on the more digital side of things. So yeah, if we get an impression, we'll 360 scan that. That'll be put into our database, and then I'll just pull it up, and depending on what it is, it's the same as a scan you would take at that point.
Sure.
Yeah.
So speaking to both of them, so it comes in, you do the design, and then where does it go? Does the doctor approve the design, or is there communication throughout the design process?
There can be, depending on the case. With exocad, there's actually a web view tool, which is incredible, like way more accessible than I would have ever thought. Like Dad, I send my dad text messages all the time. I send him texts with links to the web view, and on his phone, like, I'd be like, "What are you
I
doing?"
love it.
I was
It
like, "Pull up
answers
this
the
web view." He's like, "I'm
question.
driving."
Yeah.
It's that easy that you can.
Without any other communication, take a look at this.
Yeah.
Open it up. Boom. Oh, I see what's going on here. I mean, sometimes there doesn't even have to be a lot of dialogue. I sent a functional appliance in, and I mean, I double check my bites on functional appliances 3 or 4 times. He sends me back one, and I can see that completely canted to the left, on this protrusive bite. And I'm like, I don't know how, I don't know why, but I'm glad he caught it and sent it back to me. I'm like, no, right away.
Yeah.
No, let me get this patient back. And so I think that's a really powerful tool, Luke.
Yeah, it's awesome that we have access to that. But that's just one of the things, like, as far as communicating, it makes it a million times easier, especially, when I was in the very early learning stages. Being able to just show something to somebody is, a picture says 1,000 words, right? A 3D model says a million.
So you've designed the prosthesis, and then it goes into other hands at the laboratory that finish the prosthesis, and then it goes back to the doctor once the design is approved, or once the design
Right.
approved, it moves on, and then they finish the prosthesis and send it back to the doctor.
Yeah, I mean, and it depends. We have a few different pipelines with our lab. Like, if there is a traditional pipeline, and if we're a full service lab, so people will send us stuff, we'll design it, it goes through our manufacturing. We have a team in charge of milling, we have a team in charge of printing, we have a team in charge of finishing. So, like, I'll design something and we'll see it go through those steps, and then it'll get mailed out. But a lot of the cases that I see these days aren't even through the lab. I'm communicating. It's just one-on-one with the doctor, and I'll send them a preview. Once they approve it, I'll send them the STLs, and then they get to printing on their sprint ray or whatever it is.
So talk us through, because I know you've worked a lot on same day all-on-X cases, and
Yeah.
where live surgeries are going on, and you're
Oh, yeah.
designing these cases for immediate temporization. I think everybody would love to hear the workflow of that. Like, it's how does it get scheduled? What's the process of these clinics? And I know you're working with a lot of them that are doing these same day temporizations and immediate loading cases.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say scheduling is probably the most important part, but for a lot of these clinics, it's really, they kind of want it now. We get a lot of day of or day before, like, hey, I'm in a pickle. I've got the patient here totally edentulous. Help. So, it's frustrating, but, like, we make it work. We basically get our scan flag scans in. We get the pre-op scan, which I am always kind of a stickler for good pre-op scans, because honestly that kind of sets up the entire result, in my opinion. If you take, like, a bite of a patient that's already numb or something, like, it's going to be off at some point later on, and or if we get into several try-ins later, revisions later, and where we get far from the original relation that the patient was showing, it's not going to be a good result, and we kind of have to take 2 steps back to move forward. So to me, those are really the 2 biggest things. I would say, as your question was about the workflow, it's about having like points to move from one scan to another, right? So we want to make sure we have, we'll take the pre-op, we'll move from the pre-op to an F marker scan, which is where we add, the fiduciary marker, a stable point in the mouth to relate the edentulous scan to the dentulous scan. Then we have the scan body scan, where we'll have the scan flags in, and F markers hopefully are still in. And then we can kind of, it's kind of, I don't know, I think of it like hopscotch, it's like one hop from one to the other. That's our alignment process. And if it can all relate back to the pre-op, it's always going to be the best result.
I have two questions.
Go for it.
Sure.
Question one, I think I would love for you to speak just a moment to all those artists out there that may not be considering dental technician as their future career, although I think it's a very natural progression for many artists, especially visual artists.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about that, and then I do have a follow-up question, but I think it's really important to put the message out there about, because there's such a need in the dental technician market.
For sure. It's funny. One of my coworkers, she came from, kind of a similar background to me, digital art and animation. And she's kind of just been poaching all of her old classmates to come work for us. And they're all picking it up like that. I come from a game design background. I was making like iPhone games for like 4 years. So moving into exocad, doing digital dentistry, it is incredible how much of that experience carried over into dental. Like I said earlier, a lot of it's learning the language, but I think, if you're someone who is capable of picking up these honestly really tough applications, whether it's Maya, Unity, anything like that, exocad's nothing. You'll figure it out. It'll hold your hand even when you're doing the most some of the most difficult cases you can do. There's we have like a wizard mode and an expert mode, and even in the expert mode it'll tell you what it wants, and it's more of a matter of understanding the real world clinical application of what it is that you're doing. And I would just encourage anyone to ask a ton of questions to those around them. And what we're doing is medical and not entertainment anymore. So
fair. That's fair.
Right.
The second question, I think, I want you to think a little bit about your own experience as you sort of think about your response. So I think a lot of technicians, and in fact, actually a lot of manufacturers as well, have a hard time speaking truth to doctors because they sort of say, well, they're a doctor. They know, they should know, they blah, 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 whatever. Not a pedestal, but maybe a little bit of a pedestal there. Because your dad is your dad, and because you've had this unique, interesting working relationship, I would imagine that's translated into you actually being more open and honest talking to other doctors as well, because
Sure.
you sort of have a realistic expectation. But if you could provide a little bit of, I don't know, wisdom to those technicians out there who just do what the doctor says, even though they may know it compromises many outcomes or it's not the right thing or whatever, or just scared, like you said, to send the web view to say, hey, can I get your feedback? I want to do the right thing here. Just tell me what you want. I don't know if you have perspective and if you really have appreciated yet your unique situation, but
yeah. I mean, obviously, I work with plenty of doctors, other than my dad, and it can be intimidating for sure. I know I'm friends with some career technicians who are still not comfortable even speaking to doctors or, having a direct line of contact. And, I totally get that. But I would say honesty is the part that will take you the furthest, because these are complex cases. A lot of the time things do go wrong. It's an inevitability. So, and when that happens, the best thing you can do is say, like, hey doc, this is what I did. Maybe in hindsight that doesn't make sense, but this is how do you want to move forward? And you can kind of, that's the best way to find a solution, is through collaboration. If you don't have the answer, definitely ask other people. But I would say, on the other part of that question, about sometimes you get an RX where say they're asking for something that is just not possible in that situation, like self-contradictory prescriptions. It happens sometimes, and you kind of just have to bring things to the most ideal point that you can, make a judgment call, and then reach out and just tell them, hey, this is not achievable from both ends that you're asking for. It's most of these situations, these are compromised situations. That's why they're at the dentist. Let's find a compromise that works.
Yeah.
So, kind of a speed round of questions here.
Yeah.
Do you have one of those people that you dread picking up the phone for?
Oh, absolutely.
Doesn't everybody?
Yeah.
That happens.
The second question is Zarshan
It's his dad.
They say he is?
Yeah. Sorry, what'd you ask, Chad?
Is Zarshan as good of a technician as
Zartesh.
Zartesh, yeah, sorry.
Zartesh, that's I owe Zartesh a lot. That's probably one of the greatest technicians I've ever met. I owe him a lot for just where I'm at today, having taught me, and even he's taken the fall for me countless times when things have gone awry. Well, so thank you, Zartesh, if you're out there.
A debt of gratitude.
What's funny is that, Luke, I've known you for quite some time now. And I could have told you that your two mentors in the industry are Zartesh and your dad. And I'm glad that you give them both as much gratitude as you do.
They deserve all of it.
It's just a real, I had some a speed round of questions that I was going to ask you, but one of the things that I wanted to ask was how many analog impressions do you deal with versus digital?
I'm mostly digital, and the thing is, any analog impression I see is digital. We're 360 scan.
It's converted already.
Yeah, so I would say 5%. 5% of what I see is a 360 scanned analog impression. It's especially with the department I'm in, which is totally digital. A lot of people kind of know what they're signing up for. They're trying to move their clinic to fully digital workflows, and they've kind of ditched it.
So do you feel that the digital influx of dentistry has enabled a lot more? I mean, I think I know the answer to this, but
I think I know the question.
It's enabled a lot more people like yourself to become involved in the dental field. And do you feel that it's, from what you've seen, do you feel in it and hear that it's improved dentistry, or that it has had an adverse effect on dentistry?
Well, I would say it's hard to. I wouldn't say it's probably about the same when you think about it, because there's, no matter what, if there's money to be made, there's a chop shop somewhere, Yeah. Before digital, that was the case as well. I would say it does enable people to get away with doing things with less experience. So one of the big parts of my job is I'm an educator as well. So I teach a lot of people how to use exocad. And it's incredible to me that there are these clinics sometimes that they are just entering this digital world, and they're just learning how to make a crown. You know what I mean? I guess it's the transition period is difficult, I would say, because I think a lot of them are still doing.
That was my next question for you, Luke. Was how many? I'm sure this happens a lot, and it's got to be kind of a strange situation when you have a dentist that's maybe been doing it for 20, 30 years, and they're calling you and saying, what do I do now?
Yeah.
Because that's happening, right? Like,
yeah, it does happen.
I mean, hell, it's happened with me where I've gotten into a situation that was both analog and digital. We had a case we talked about today where I took digital scans on a full arch case.
Yeah.
Bar didn't fit. Direct to implant with no multi abutment, right? And so I went old school on it. Rather than taking a new scan, I cut the bar, indexed it, and said,
segmented
can
the
you
whole
scan
thing.
this? And can we do it as a hybrid of what we used to do and what we do now? And so guys who are doing it 30 years are leaning on you and saying, hey, how do I understand how analog transfers to digital? Because that's where you're going to have more knowledge than even someone with a lot of experience may have.
Yeah. I mean, what's the question?
Well, the question is it not strange having people with a lot of experience saying, what do I do now? And it's got to be difficult as someone who's been in the dental field for a year and a half, and granted, what you've done in a year and a half.
To tell these doctors who've been highly educated, they've been to school for 10 plus years sometimes.
Yeah,
it's like, oh, Luke, what do I do?
Yeah, you suck.
Yeah, it happened.
And that's when you say, I'm going to refer you to Zartesh.
Yeah, this is whenever I reach out to my good friend Zartesh. I mean, it's usually pretty cut and dry as far as if there's an issue with digital records or even analog records, I could tell them what we need to move forward. I got a case from you, Dad, today that I was calling you about, where the one you were talking about earlier, where we had to segment a full arch and figure out where to go from there. And typically in that situation, what I would ask for is a new body scan to verify the implant position. But in your situation where you're worried about cross arch distortion, we're just gonna,
because it was going to be the same scanner in this case, and I won't mention anything about scanners, but it was going to be the same scanner, and to expect a different result from the same technique, I was worried about that. Insanity. So I said, I'm going to go old school, cut the bar in half. It fits perfectly in passive when it's cut in half, re-index, send it back. And then I figured there had to be a way that you were smart enough on how to figure out how to then scan that with the analogs built in. And I mean, basically it would have been re-poured as a model in the analog world, but I knew there had to be a way we could do that digitally, but I'm not the guy to figure that out.
There's always a way. There's always a way. But these are the times where you kind of have to go off script, because these are not the digital processes. I've got it sitting on my desk right now. It's going to take a little bit of...
Dentistry is a lifetime of going off script.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's a situation where, we pour up a model and basically just start aligning parts, finding areas that we can match shapes of our implants to the prosthetic itself. It's there's always a way to do it. Exocad, like I said earlier, it really does try to hold your hand with everything. And it's a very powerful program in that you don't have to use its workflows. You can go off script if you need to. There's a module in it called Ponic Wax Up, which my good friend Johnny Jackson, who he's taught me so much. I think he spent about a year only working in Ponic Wax Up. So he was making, and I think it was almost like a personal challenge. Maybe he was just young and cocky, but he was making crowns, bite splints, all on X, that's normal for all on X. That's what we would use. But instead of using any of the Exocad modules for crowns, bite splints, any of that stuff that's already preset, he was like, I'm just going to do it all in Ponic Wax Up just to show I know what I'm doing. And you could do that. It's cool how it's a bit of a canvas once you really understand it.
Well, Luke, I'm proud of you, buddy.
Thank you, Chad.
Very, very proud of you. I
My daddy never tells me he's proud of me.
Met you several years ago.
Phil never will.
And never imagined you'd be as knowledgeable in dentistry as you are. And it's visible that you enjoy it. And I think we're all proud of you, buddy. So,
awesome.
Good job.
Thank you, guys.
Good job.
It means a lot to hear.
Yeah. I as a matter of fact, I'm going to dress up as Shoney Bear and come give you a hug.
Oh, Shoney Bear.
I don't mind that. That's fine with me.
It doesn't bother you at all.
Joel will be visibly upset, physically upset.
Bless.
If you hug him as Shoney Bear. He will lash out at you, but I'm fine with me.
I'm going to close us, since we're over time, with one final question. And I think that we all have our theories on this, but do you work? I'm going to pose it as two questions and wrap it up. Do you work with average dentists?
I range the gamut.
Yes or no, Luke? It's yes or no. Do you work with
every dentist, basically?
Do you work with average dentists and you work with probably elite dentists, right?
Yes.
How can you tell the difference from your perspective?
The records. It's to put it short, it's the records. There's some doctors or assistants rather will send me a photo of somebody like at this angle, showing their teeth, and I'm like, how do you expect me to establish a midline off of this? There's diagnostic photos, I would say, are one of the most telling parts, but also it's really it can be various things. Sometimes there are really great dentists who are just overbooking themselves and are just trying to get a patient in and out, and they don't always capture everything they need to have the optimal result. And and I get that. Sometimes that's the way it is, but I see all types, and we'll make it work if it takes a couple of revisions. That's part of it.
Well, I loved your answer, because I think that's what we were looking for. So anyhow, Jeff, I'm going to let you close us out tonight, man. It's your boy. Close us out.
Well, what I'll say is no one is prouder than this guy. Never thought that in my career, Luke was never a blood and spit kind of guy, and never was there a thought that
nor is he now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, never was there a thought that he might be a dentist. Never was there a thought of, and I never wanted to push him to do that because it just wasn't, it's just not his passion, not his
Never
thing.
wanted that.
Yeah. But when I saw what his passion for art, and he's always had a passion for science, just maybe not the blood and spit of science, but when I watched him go from taking an art form to being passionate about a science to tie that art form in with, it was really it was the ultimate thing that a parent could ever feel. And that is, okay, he's found his true path. And I know you found it, and I can hear your passion in what you're doing. I hear it when you call me. I listen to you in ways that, I may not have even been open to listen to other lab technicians talk to me. And it really made me think, damn, I was screwing this up for a long time, not listening to my lab techs enough,
But also, they won't tell you your scans suck.
Well, exactly. They wouldn't call me and say, well, some would. But I think you said a couple of things tonight that really resonated. One was, first of all, just because you have digital scanning doesn't mean that it's a slam dunk, right? Like, every scan is not necessarily good. Just because it captures everything there, it doesn't mean the scan is good.
And even if it's accurate, if the patient is, some patients try to help you. If they're moving their jaw around or anything, you're taking a bite scan, any amount of lateral intrusion is going to ruin it.
And really, the methodology with which you take scans you can get cross arch discrepancies, which we've experienced. But the other thing that you said that I will go back to is, if every dentist, and this is a guy who did not come through the digital age, that has kind of picked up everything along the way, and I've learned a lot from you, Luke, is everything goes back to the records, and being able to always have a tie back to the original records. Like, what can they tie back to the original record so that original bite, that original relationship is never lost?
What will the patient tolerate?
That was a really important message, I think, that you put out there. So anyway, I'm not going to keep going. I'm really proud of you. It's great watching your career. This guy's going to do great things, everybody. And watch out. This is Lukey Exocat.
I don't like that.
You don't have a say in this matter, son.
This is Horowitz 2.0, damn it.
Yeah, the next generation. Thank you guys.
Got off to a rough start, but ended it well.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Well, have a wonderful evening, Luke. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sharing your thoughts, and we'll talk to you soon, bud.
Of course. Take care.
And that wraps up another podcast for Dentists in the Know. On behalf of Dr. Jennifer Bell, Dr. Chad Duplantis, and myself, remember that we've got a great profession, so let's make it a great day, Dinks.